Gospel for Maundy Thursday comes to us from John chapter 13. Now before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and to go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, and tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to Jesus, "Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "One who is bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For Jesus knew who was to betray him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe and returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for this is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set for you an example, that also you should do as I have done to you. Very truly I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them." Jesus continues to speak to the disciples. "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I have said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you are to love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
We're taking a look at Terrace at Night by Vincent van Gogh. This is one of the 3 paintings in which Vincent sought to capture the beauty of the night sky. The other 2 are Starry Night and Starry Night over the Rhone. And though he never explicitly said so, some scholars recently have wondered if there might have been echoes of the Last Supper in Terrace at Night. 12 diners surround a single long-haired figure standing in the middle. A shadow lurks in the doorway. A common trope in Last Night Supper paintings is to depict Judas leaving the scene. And 3 cruciform shapes are hidden in plain sight, one immediately above the standing figure, one on that figure's torso, you have to zoom way in to make it out, and one in the distance above the approaching horse and carriage. Whether or not Vincent consciously intended these references, Terrace at Night can help us reflect on the ways communion not only happened long ago, but also happens again and again in our daily lives, sometimes hidden, sometimes plain. Vincent once wrote that his hope was that wherever I go, I'll be preaching the gospel. And this approach to life, after all, entails seeing and hearing the gospel everywhere, too. As we saw 2 Sundays ago, Lazarus' sister Mary has just anointed Jesus' feet with perfume. And now Jesus turns to his disciples with a similar gesture of intimate, loving service. Foot washing tangibly illustrates his new commandment to love one another as I have loved you. Maundy is from the old word for mandate or command. But this simple, surprising act also conjures up a vision of a new world where everyone serves one another, turning the old hierarchies upside down. More than a mere act of service, then, Jesus performs a visionary act of imagination, causing a portrait of the new world God is bringing into being. If we view Cafe Terrace at night as a modern version of the Last Supper, it can help us remember how ordinary love can be. Far from some out-of-reach feat of sacred excellence, the love to which Jesus calls us is as accessible as touch, the foot washing in John, and as everyday as a meal, the supper in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. Even an ordinary cafe, if we have eyes to see, can be a venue for love and forgiveness, a glimpse of the reign of heaven on earth beneath a splendid starry sky.